Hello everybody, I'm down in Hendon Beach in Sunderland. I've just been up at Hendon Grange to do a little short video up there, and I was coming down here to do a story of a shipwreck that happened here in 1901, but I think it's a bit too noisy. Like, look at that. Absolutely brutal, this place. It's a place I'm not that keen on. It's just such a dark, I think, depressing place down here. Plus I've probably written a few stories about some tragic events that happened down here, but have a look at some of the waves down here. I've had to come back up here because if you stand too close you get the spray on you. So Sunderland has two stretches of coast, the north side, Seabird and Roker, but this is the more, as I said, brutal and bleak side. Can you imagine being out in that today? And that's what that video I was going to do about a friendship which ended up on the beach further along, up towards near the Hendon Grange. Look at that wave there. I think this is one of the old breakwaters down here. But further up there, towards those cliffs where I've just come from, near Hendon Grange, in the 1780s, Georgian tourists used to come here to bathe and take the waters and stay at places like the Blue House Lodge Mansion. Not the pub that's there now, the old pub. There was one called about 100 odd metres further away from it, which was knocked down and then the new one built. But look at that. Some of the waves come over this top bit here. Oh, it's dead end, that's gone all the way back. What kind of... That's the port of Sunderland just there, going all the way down to the River Weir. So if there's any big waves come down here. Where they normally hit high, just this bit here. Watch this one coming over the top. Let's have a look. Howling. But it was the... See, I might be able to do the story actually. There was a strong gale on the 12th and 13th of November 1901, and this French ship had a tug just down by the weir in front of Hendon, but the tug had to go because the weather was too bad. So it had to go off on its own accord. It dropped anchor further up here. But the storm was just horrific. One of the sailors got washed overboard and the captain gave the order, that's it. Put your life jackets, get the life jackets on and just do the best that you can. So during that particular storm between Whitburn and Ryhope, 34 people lost their lives in 5 wrecks. But this one was a ship called the Quillota, which had 22 crew and 1 pilot. 17 of the men sadly died. The bodies were washed up over the next few days. A number of them are buried at Sunderland Cemetery, and it just says drowned on Ryhope Beach or Grangetown Beach, because some of the bodies would pop up between here and down at Ryhope. But in the early hours of that 13th of November, some people were going along the cliffs because they hadn't been able to launch the lifeboats, and could hear some groaning, and they could see a man's head sticking out of the earth. And what had happened is these two of the men had scrambled ashore, started climbing up the clay cliffs, but there'd been a slide and 20 tons of earth covered them, so one of them was sadly buried alive. Imagine that, you've escaped something like that, and then you end up being buried alive on the cliff. The other guy was buried up to his head, but he survived, and he was taken off to, I think, to the Hendon Grange Hotel for a rest. Another sailor was just found wandering along Grange Town with a life jacket on during the dark. So it was a huge tragedy, 17 men, but I'd probably guess the conditions were like this, or even worse. Right, I'm going to try and get out of here. I still haven't had my coffee, so anyway, thank you very much for watching. Sorry it's a bit noisy, but I can't do much about the weather. But if you could, give it a like, click on the subscribe, help grow the channel, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully next time this crappy weather finally buggers off from Sunderland and I can go to some nice picturesque places. But as I said, give you one last look at the North Sea. Can't see any ships out on the water, but really heavy sea. So thanks for watching, see you next time, bye.